There comes a moment in every person's life when the world feels heavier than the heart can carry. A moment when the nights grow longer, the prayers become deeper, and the tears fall in silence where no one else can see. Hardship does not knock before entering. It arrives unexpectedly through loss, pain, disappointment, betrayal, fear, or uncertainty. And in those moments, you may begin to ask yourself, how will I survive this? But perhaps the real question is not how you will survive it. Perhaps the real question is what this hardship is trying to awaken within you. Sometimes life must shake you before it can shape you. Sometimes the storm is not sent to destroy you, but to reveal to you how strong your roots truly are. You may feel broken today, but brokenness is not the end of your story. It may in fact be the beginning of your transformation. There are moments in life when pain enters so suddenly that it leaves the heart questioning everything. A door closes without warning, a dream falls apart, a loved one leaves this world, or a hardship settles over your life so heavily that even breathing feels difficult. In those moments, the human mind often rushes toward one painful thought. Why is this happening to me? Have I been abandoned? Is this a punishment? These questions are natural because when the heart is hurting, it seeks meaning. But one of the most powerful truths you can hold on to is this: hardship is not always a punishment. Very often it is a test, a process, and a means of elevation. Life was never promised to be free from difficulty. Every soul, no matter how strong, wealthy, respected, or faithful, will face moments of trial. Hardship is woven into the fabric of human existence. The one who understands this does not become shattered by trials in the same way because they begin to see pain through a different lens. Instead of asking, why me? They begin to ask, what is this teaching me? What am I meant to learn? How am I meant to grow through this? A test is different from a punishment because its purpose is not destruction but revelation. A test reveals what is hidden inside you. It shows you the strength you did not know you possessed, the patience you never had to practice before, and the faith that only appears when everything else is stripped away. Sometimes comfort keeps certain qualities asleep within us. Ease can make us forget our dependence on the one who created us. It is often during hardship that the heart awakens, that the soul becomes sincere, and that a person discovers the depth of their own resilience. Think about gold. Gold is placed into fire not because it is worthless, but because it is precious. The fire does not destroy its value, it purifies it. In the same way, hardship can act as a refining fire for the human soul. It burns away arrogance, heedlessness, and false attachments. It reminds us what truly matters. It humbles us. It softens us. It brings us back to reflection, gratitude, and sincere prayer. Many times, what you perceive as the worst moment of your life becomes the turning point that changes everything. A failure teaches discipline. A heartbreak teaches wisdom. A loss teaches gratitude. A closed door redirects you towards something better. At first, the pain blinds you from seeing the purpose, but with time, clarity begins to emerge. You start to realize that what felt like an ending was actually a redirection. A test also measures your response. The hardship itself is only one part of the trial. The greater test is how you choose to face it. Will you allow it to fill your heart with bitterness, or will you let it build patience? Will you let it make you hopeless, or will you use it to deepen your trust? Trials do not define you by their presence, but by the way you respond to them. There is something deeply transformative about enduring difficulty with patience and dignity. It does not mean you never cry. It does not mean you never feel pain. Even the strongest hearts tremble. Patience is not the absence of tears, it is the refusal to let pain destroy your faith and your character. It is choosing to continue even when every part of you wants to stop. Sometimes people compare their lives to others and wonder why their road seems harder. But every person carries a test tailored to their journey. What is difficult for one person may be easy for another. Your hardship is not random. It may be shaping you for a future responsibility, preparing you for a blessing, or teaching you lessons that comfort never could. When you begin to see hardship as a test, something changes within you. The burden may still be heavy, but the meaning behind it gives you strength. Meaning transforms suffering. A person can endure almost anything if they believe there is wisdom behind it. Often the test is not about what you lose, but about what you gain in spirit. Through trials, you gain patience, empathy, maturity, and a deeper connection with your inner self. The person who has known pain often becomes more compassionate toward others. Their heart becomes softer, more understanding, and more sincere. Do not assume that because life is difficult, you are forsaken. Sometimes the hardest roads lead to the most beautiful destinations. Sometimes what feels like a burden today is the very thing that will save you tomorrow. There are blessings that only arrive through struggle, lessons that only come through tears, and wisdom that only pain can teach. So when hardship visits your life, do not rush to label it as punishment. Sit with it, reflect on it. Ask yourself what it is revealing, what it is removing, and what it is building within you. A test is not sent to break the believer's spirit, but to strengthen it, elevate it, and purify it. The storm may be fierce, but storms also clear the sky. The pressure may feel unbearable, but pressure is what transforms coal into diamonds. Your pain has purpose, even if you cannot yet see it. And perhaps the greatest truth of all is that every test carries within it the seed of growth, waiting for the soul that chooses patience, reflection, and trust to bring it to life. Patience is one of the most powerful strengths a person can ever develop, yet it is often misunderstood. Many people think patience means simply waiting, remaining silent, or doing nothing while life unfolds around them. But true patience is far deeper than that. It is an inner force, a quiet strength of the soul that allows a person to remain steady when everything around them feels unstable. It is the ability to endure pain without allowing pain to change who you are. In the face of hardship, patience does not make the burden disappear, but it gives you the strength to carry it. Life has a way of testing the heart in ways we never expect. There are moments when answers do not come, when doors remain closed, when prayers seem delayed, and when the future appears uncertain. In such moments, the heart naturally becomes restless. It wants immediate relief, immediate understanding, immediate solutions. But patience teaches the soul to trust the process of time and wisdom. It reminds us that not everything unfolds according to our schedule, and that sometimes delay itself is part of the lesson. Patience is what keeps a person standing when they feel like collapsing. It is what allows someone to continue moving forward even when they cannot yet see the destination. There is tremendous strength in refusing to give up during the darkest chapter of life. Anyone can remain hopeful when life is easy, but it takes real courage to preserve hope when everything seems to be falling apart. The beauty of patience is that it transforms pain into power. Every hardship that you endure with patience builds something within you. It builds resilience, maturity, and wisdom. The person who has waded through difficult seasons often emerges stronger than the one who has never been tested. This is because patience stretches the soul. It forces you to grow beyond your comfort, beyond your fears, and beyond your old limitations. Think about the way trees grow. The strongest trees are not those sheltered from every storm, but those that have faced wind, rain, and pressure. Each storm forces the roots to grow deeper into the ground. In the same way, patience deepens your inner roots. Every difficult day you survive strengthens the foundation of your character. Patience also teaches emotional discipline. When people are hurt, disappointed, or frustrated, it is easy to react impulsively. Words are spoken in anger, decisions are made in despair, and actions are taken that later bring regret. But patience creates space between pain and reaction. It gives the heart time to breathe, reflect, and respond with wisdom rather than emotion. This does not mean patience is easy. In truth, patience is often one of the hardest things to practice because it requires strength in moments of vulnerability. It asks you to hold yourself together when your heart is aching. It asks you to continue believing when evidence seems absent. It asks you to trust even when the path ahead is hidden. There are times when patience means enduring the pain of loss. Sometimes it means waiting for healing after betrayal. Other times it means continuing to work toward a goal even after repeated failure. In every form, patience is not passive weakness, but active endurance. It is the decision to remain committed to hope and purpose despite difficulty. One of the greatest gifts patience gives is clarity. Pain often clouds judgment. When we are overwhelmed by hardship, we may not see the bigger picture, but patience allows time to reveal what emotions initially conceal. With time, many things begin to make sense. The rejection that once felt devastating may later reveal itself as protection. The delay that once felt unbearable may later appear as preparation. Patience allows hidden wisdom to unfold. Patience also strengthens faith. When a person continues to trust through hardship, their connection with something greater than themselves becomes stronger. They begin to understand that life is not only about immediate outcomes, but about long-term growth. The waiting period often becomes the place where the soul learns surrender, humility, and trust. Sometimes the greatest battles are not external, but internal. The struggle to remain calm, the effort to hold on to hope, the fight against negative thoughts, these are battles that patience helps you win. It teaches you that strength is not always loud. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is quietly endure another day. People often admire strength when it appears dramatic, but some of the greatest forms of strength are invisible. The person who continues smiling through pain, who continues praying through uncertainty, who continues trying after repeated setbacks, that person is displaying immense patience and therefore immense strength. Every moment of patience adds to your growth, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Growth is not always visible in the moment. Just as seeds grow beneath the soil before they break through the surface, patience works within the heart before its fruits become visible in life. The pain you are enduring today may be shaping the strength you will need tomorrow. The patience you practice now may become the very thing that allows you to survive future storms with grace. Every tear held back from bitterness, every step taken despite exhaustion, every hopeful thought maintained in darkness is building a stronger version of you. Patience does not promise that hardship will vanish immediately, but it ensures that hardship will not conquer your spirit. It teaches you to bend without breaking, to endure without losing yourself, and to trust that every difficult season eventually gives way to ease. When hardship enters your life, one of the first things it often tries to steal is hope. The mind begins to fill with questions, fear, and uncertainty. You start wondering whether things will ever improve, whether the pain will ever end, and whether the road ahead holds anything but more struggle. In those moments, it is not merely physical strength that carries a person forward, it is faith. Faith becomes the light that shines when everything around you feels dark. It is the quiet assurance in the heart that this pain is not permanent, that this chapter is not the end, and that even within difficulty there is mercy and meaning. Faith does not mean you never feel afraid. Even the strongest hearts tremble in times of trial. There are nights when tears fall in silence, when the heart feels heavy, and when the soul grows tired from carrying burdens no one else can see. But faith is what keeps you from collapsing under that weight. It whispers to your heart that every storm has an end, that every wound can heal, and that every moment of suffering is seen and known. When life is easy, it is simple to feel secure. But true faith reveals its power when life becomes uncertain. It is easy to trust when the path is clear, when blessings are visible, and when everything seems to be going well. The real test comes when the future is hidden, when prayers seem delayed, and when answers do not come as quickly as you hoped. In those moments, faith becomes your anchor. It keeps you steady when the waves of fear and doubt try to pull you under. One of the most beautiful things about faith is that it gives purpose to pain. Without faith, hardship can feel meaningless. It can feel like chaos, punishment, or endless suffering. But faith transforms the way you see your trials. Instead of viewing pain as the end, you begin to see it as a passage, a season, a test that carries wisdom and growth within it. Faith allows you to believe that even when you do not understand what is happening, there is still a greater plan unfolding. There are moments in life when nothing seems to make sense. Doors close, dreams are delayed, relationships break, and opportunities disappear. In those moments, the human mind often focuses only on what has been lost. But faith lifts your vision beyond the present moment. It reminds you that sometimes what leaves your life is making space for something better. Sometimes what feels like rejection is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like delay is preparation. Faith gives the heart the courage to continue even when the outcome is unknown. It allows you to take the next step even when you cannot yet see the full road ahead. This is one of the greatest forms of hope, not certainty in circumstances, but certainty that you are not alone in your struggle. Hope born from faith is different from ordinary optimism. Optimism depends on visible signs that things are improving. Faith-based hope remains alive even when there are no visible signs. It is the ability to believe in relief while still standing in the middle of pain. It is the strength to keep trusting when the answer has not yet arrived. Think of the night sky. No matter how dark it becomes, the stars remain above the darkness, even if clouds temporarily hide them. In the same way, faith reminds you that light still exists beyond what you currently see. Your hardship may be clouding your vision, but it does not erase the possibility of dawn. Faith also protects the heart from despair. Despair is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry because it convinces them that nothing will change. It drains motivation, weakens resilience, and fills the soul with emptiness. But faith breathes life back into the heart. It reminds you that many things change with time, that no season remains forever, and that the very struggle you are facing may one day become the source of your greatest strength. Sometimes the greatest miracle of faith is not that it changes your circumstances immediately, but that it changes you while you are within those circumstances. It gives you calmness in chaos, patience in delay, and strength in weakness. The external hardship may remain for a while, but internally you begin to grow stronger, wiser, and more peaceful. There is also comfort in knowing that every hardship has its appointed end. Just as the longest night eventually gives way to morning, every period of struggle carries within it the promise of ease. Faith helps you hold on to that promise when your emotions try to convince you otherwise. Many people who have endured great suffering often say that what carried them through was not certainty, but belief. Belief that their tears were not wasted, belief that their pain had purpose, belief that beyond the darkness there was still mercy waiting for them. Faith teaches you that setbacks do not define your destiny. Your present pain is only one page of your story, not the entire book. The chapter may be difficult, but the story is still being written. What you are going through now may one day become the very testimony that inspires others. And so when hardship surrounds you and fear begins to whisper to your heart, let faith speak louder. Let it remind you that your struggle is temporary, your strength is growing, and your relief is closer than it appears. Hold on to hope, because faith is often the bridge between pain and healing, between darkness and light, between what is and what is yet to come. Pain has a way of convincing the heart that it serves no purpose. When hardship strikes, the first instinct is often to focus only on the wound, the loss, the disappointment, the silence, the tears, the loneliness. In those moments, it becomes difficult to believe that anything good could ever come from something that hurts so deeply. Yet one of the most profound truths of life is that every pain carries hidden wisdom. Not always visible in the moment, not always easy to understand, but present nonetheless. The nature of pain is that it narrows your vision. It keeps your eyes fixed on what is broken right now. But wisdom often reveals itself only with time. What seems meaningless today may become deeply clear tomorrow. Many of the lessons that shape us the most are born from the experiences we once prayed to escape. Pain is a teacher unlike any other. Comfort can make a person passive, but pain forces reflection. It makes you stop, think, question, and grow. It pushes you to examine your life, your choices, your relationships, and even your purpose. There are truths about yourself that you may never discover in times of ease. It is often through struggle that the soul comes face to face with who it truly is. Sometimes pain reveals your strength. Before hardship, you may have never known how much you could endure. You may have doubted your resilience, your patience, or your ability to rise after falling. But once life tests you, something powerful begins to emerge. You realize that the strength you were searching for was already within you, waiting for the right moment to awaken. At other times, pain reveals what truly matters. In the rush of everyday life, people often become distracted by things that seem important but are ultimately temporary: status, approval, comfort, or worldly success. Hardship has a way of stripping away illusion. It reminds you that peace, faith, sincere relationships, and inner strength are far more valuable than anything external. There's also wisdom in the way pain deepens empathy. A person who has suffered becomes more capable of understanding the suffering of others. The one who has known loss can comfort the grieving. The one who has faced rejection can encourage the brokenhearted. The one who has cried in silence learns how to recognize silent pain in someone else's eyes. In this way, your pain does not remain isolated within you. It can become a source of compassion and healing for others. Sometimes the hidden wisdom in pain is protection. There are moments when what hurts you today is actually saving you from something worse tomorrow. A closed door may feel like rejection, but later you may realize it was redirection. A relationship that ended may feel devastating, but with time you may see that it spared you deeper sorrow. Wisdom often comes in hindsight, when the heart is finally able to see beyond the emotion of the moment. Pain also teaches humility. It reminds every human being of their vulnerability. No matter how strong, intelligent, or successful a person may be, hardship humbles the soul. It teaches that control is limited and that life can change in an instant. This humility is not weakness, it is awareness. It softens the heart and deepens gratitude. One of the most overlooked forms of wisdom hidden in pain is growth through detachment. Sometimes hardship removes things from your life that you had become overly dependent on. people, plans, routines, or expectations. At first, the loss feels unbearable, but eventually it teaches you not to build your entire identity around temporary things. It helps you develop inner stability rather than relying only on external comfort. Think of how a seed grows. Before it can rise toward the light, it must first be buried beneath the soil. In darkness, under pressure, surrounded by weight, it begins its transformation. What seems like burial is actually the beginning of growth. In much the same way, the painful seasons of your life may be the hidden place where your transformation is taking shape. The wisdom of pain is rarely immediate. In the middle of suffering, it may feel impossible to find meaning. This is why patience and reflection are so important. Time often uncovers what emotions conceal. A year from now, you may look back on your present hardship and see lessons that are invisible to you today. Pain can also refine your priorities. It teaches you where your energy truly belongs. It shows you which relationships deserve your time, which goals align with your values, and which habits are harming your peace. Through suffering, many people discover clarity they never had before. Another hidden wisdom in pain is spiritual awakening. Sometimes hardship is what brings a person back to deeper reflection, prayer, and sincerity. In moments of ease, the heart can become distracted. But in moments of struggle, the soul becomes more aware, more present, and more connected to what truly sustains it. The tears you shed are not meaningless. Every tear carries a lesson, even if it has not yet revealed itself. Every sleepless night may be preparing your heart for a future that requires greater strength. Every disappointment may be shaping your perspective in ways that comfort never could. The pain you feel today may one day become the wisdom you share with someone else who is struggling. What once wounded you may later become the very thing that gives you depth, compassion, and purpose. So never assume that suffering is empty. Hidden within it may be lessons about patience, trust, strength, humility, gratitude, and self-discovery. Pain often enters as a burden, but with reflection it can leave as wisdom. And sometimes the greatest truths we ever learn are the ones that arrive wrapped in hardship, waiting for the heart to uncover their meaning